You are listening to the Next Play podcast, the playbook for high-performing leaders who want to exceed their full potential. From walking on the Ole Miss football team at 5'7", 150 pounds and earning a full D1 scholarship, to coaching thousands around the world and working with massive organizations like IBM. I've learned countless lessons that I'll be sharing right here with you. Join me as I interview some of the most successful people so you too can learn how to focus on always moving forward by deciding, planning, and executing on the next play relentlessly. What's going on? This is Richie with the Next Play podcast, and today we have a very special guest. You've probably seen him before, Mr. Evan Carmichael. This man has built a YouTube channel like none other. He's got to have at least 4 million subscribers across multiple platforms. But this is someone that, 10, 15 years ago when I started my journey, I paid a lot of attention to and watched his videos and has made a big impact on my life. So having you on the show is so exciting to me. And I hope for a lot of listeners. So I just want to jump right into it, man. How did you go? Because when I first met you, you said to me, hey, I'm an introvert. Or we were talking in a group and you're like, I'm an introvert. How did you go from introvert to building this YouTube channel? And now you're building other channels and businesses. How did you get started in this?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me, Richie. Great to be here. Yeah. Thanks for the long-term loyalty and appreciation.
Yeah.
It took a long time, dude. In year 5 of my YouTube channel, I still had 2,000 subscribers in year 5. Right. So this was not overnight success.
Right.
Knew I was going to crush it and make it. And like, you're already ahead of me. Most of the people listening and watching are probably already ahead of me if you go kind of year by year. And I really struggled, like that whole introvert thing. I really struggled. I don't like being in front of the spotlight. I don't crave it. I don't need it. I don't want it. And I have the same agent, the guy who made a huge impact on my life was named Steve. And it's the same guy who helped Mel Robbins blow up and Grant Cardone blow up. And he said, Evan, you know what your problem is? Like, tell me, Steve, what's my problem? He's like, you don't want to be famous. Like, okay, yeah. I think that's a good thing, right? He's like, no, like Grant loves the camera. Grant loves being out in front. Grant loves being the center of attention. And like, you don't. Like, okay, so how do I win, not being the center? And that took a long time to overcome. And the thing that kind of pushed me through was just recognizing that I don't crave the spotlight, but I want to serve. I want to help. I want to have an impact. And what Steve ended up saying was, if people don't know you, they'll never hear the message. Right. And that's the thing that finally broke through to say, that's what he's been saying for the past 3 years that I was too dumb or closed-minded to actually take in. And I still struggle every time I'm going to get on stage or do a show. It's always, I'm not jazzed to get in front of 1,000 people. I'm more scared than anything else. And I have to remind myself that, hey, I'm doing this because it's going to serve people.
Right. Because at the end of the day, like Steve said, it's the only way. It's the only way that you're going to get in front of people and build and spread your message. Right. So what is your message?
I think the world's biggest problem is people don't believe in themselves enough. Myself included. Like, I don't believe in myself to get to the next step. And that's what I'm trying to solve for everybody. And every time I figure out a new hack or a new way or a new model or a new mentor, I try to share that with people. One of the things that helped me the most was being around and learning from other successful people. So, being able to learn, I didn't meet Steve Jobs, but I can learn from him. I haven't met Oprah yet, but I can learn from her. And their stories inspire me to want to do bigger things. And the more I was around their content, it just made me believe in myself more. So then I tried to bring that to the world as well, to say, hey, you take someone like Elon Musk, and he's not a great speaker. He stumbles a lot on his words. He's slow at speaking a lot. He talks about a lot of things that I don't necessarily care about. People ask him questions that I don't find relevant or helpful a lot of times. Right. But if he was to do a press conference, in that 2-hour press conference, there might be like 7 minutes of really solid entrepreneurial advice. And that's what I wanted. So we started, clipping some of that content, putting them together. Like, here's the best that you can learn from Elon Musk. And then along the way too, people wanted to know my story and why I do what I do and what my message is. And so I have Evan content as well as lessons I've learned from other successful entrepreneurs.
So how did you, I love that. So how did you go from this, 5 years, 2,000 subscribers to millions? Like what, I understand Steve is a big part of that. He's lucky he's been a big part of some of the things that I'm doing as well. I have so much respect for him. I'm just curious though, like how did you, because a lot of people are in that position, right? Where they're like, I can't get past this one thing, or they give up before they even come close to doing that for 5 years. But how did you do that? How did you get from, not believing and stuck at, 2,000 subscribers to millions?
Yeah. So I use something called Big Why, Little Why, where the big why is the big mission, the big vision, what you're trying to accomplish, who you're trying to serve. I'm ambitious. Like as much as I'm introvert, like I want to change the world, dude. I'm ambitious. I'm aggressive. I want to do big things. It's inspiring. Like I'm not just some meek, like, oh, it doesn't matter, just
right.
Live life today. Like I want to go and do big things. And so that big why and that big push forced me to do the things that are uncomfortable. A lot of the exercises Steve gave me were uncomfortable. It's like, I don't want to do this. This doesn't feel right. And they never quite 100% fit, but they would 80% fit. And I'd have to figure out like that last 20% myself. But because they didn't quite 100% fit, I would resist and fight and like not want to do it at all. And so I had to overcome that because I'm chasing a big why. And then the little why was sometimes the big why is too big. Sometimes the big why, like your big mission feels too big. Like, who am I? I suck. I'm not getting traction. Nobody's watching these things. This is stupid. It's a waste of time. I'm making money over here. I should do that. Why am I focused here? So the little why is that I helped one person, like you saying, hey, my content helped you 10 years ago or whatever. Like that's meaningful. The individual comments that come in are meaningful. And so I always focused on who I was serving instead of who I wasn't. So the whole, in year 5, I still had 2,000 subscribers on my channel. A lot of people would look at that and it's like, that's a just disaster failure. Like if you haven't figured it out in 5 years, dude, like go do something else. It wasn't like I tried it for 5 days, but I just focused on, hey, there's 2,000 people who are here. If you were to go give a speech in front of 2,000 people, it's like, well, you do speeches, now in front of big audiences, but at the beginning, like that's amazing. 2,000 people are here. This is crazy. But because it's online, it feels like it's a flop and we're losers. So I just always focus on who I was serving, and the reminder from the every comment that came in, I held on to those. Like what I'm doing matters, and it may not be on a global scale, but I'm helping some people, and so I want to keep going. So on some days, the big why and the big mission is the driving force. Like, let's go change the world, man. I'm ready. And some days when it feels too big, it's just a little why that, hey, this is helping at least one person. And if you can actually feel that it's helping, it gives you a lot more motivation to keep going.
Yeah. And so I like that. So how did you use the little whys and the big whys to actually do it though? Like what were some of the changes and adjustments that you made to get there, to actually get over the hump? And what did that look like when you started getting subscribers? Because I assume at some point to have almost 4 million from like there had to have been like a snowball at some point. Like how did you get to that snowball, and what was it like from there? Like how did you change your videos? Did you change your approach? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you had a great video not too long ago talking about how you stay motivated. You talk to your team, like when you help and motivate your team, it helps you stay motivated on the big goal, right? Like that's a little why. Like if it's just Richie in his office, maybe you're not as inspired and motivated every single day, but the fact that you have to inspire your team and mentor and guide them, and like in spending 8 minutes with you, their eyes light up. Is like, yeah, that's why we did. Like that inspires you as well. To go off and, like, right? It's like, that's a great little why example. You're doing it with your team. I was doing it with my audience. So like those little things then continue to build the motivation to want to keep going. So it was a great clip that you put up. I hope I commented on it.
I appreciate it.
But then that motivation then gives you the confidence to go do things that are outside your comfort zone and a little more scary. So for example, all of that Steve pushing and telling me that I need to play a bigger game and I'm not doing risky enough things led me to make a video in collaboration with another YouTuber that I was really proud of. And we showed it to actually Hank, who's Steve's business partner, and he
know him very well.
He hated it. Like he said, this is not a good video. He told me it was too long. Now the video was 6 minutes. It was a different world too, right? Back then, right? It was too
yeah.
long. I didn't understand how the internet worked and like all of these things that were off about it. And Hank has given me like some of the best advice over the years too for coaching and content. And here was this guy who I respected telling me that this new big idea that I had wouldn't work. And I'm going to do it, whatever. Like I post a video, maybe it's not, maybe it flops. Maybe I spent these months working on this project and it's just a total flop, but I at least need to know, because for whatever reason, this bold push has led me to want to make this video, and I'm just going to do it. And that video, my best video up to that point, had 100,000 views in a year, which I was super proud of. Like 100K views
with
in 1 year.
2,000 subscribers.
Yeah, it's like that's my let's go. You know, I'm starting here, guys. But all my other videos tanked. I launched this video and it had 100,000 views in the first month.
Wow.
So like in the month, I got 100K views, where it was a year for the other one. And now it's sitting at like 2 million views or something like that. And so this video was confirmation, one, that if I did something more bold and outside my comfort zone, it could work and get like tremendous results. And also that some people, even who I respect, might disagree with me on it, but I still need to go off and try. If it was some random person commenting and said, this video sucks, I don't care. But like, this was somebody who was in my circle of trust, who was telling me that this wasn't good. And just the willingness to say, okay, maybe it's not, but I'm going to post it and see. And every bold move you take leads to more confidence to take another bold move and another bold move. So it wasn't like this one like giant moment. That video, 100K views in a month was awesome.
What was the video? It
was my first video about Believe. So up until that point, and I don't remember the exact date of that video, but I guess it's on the channel. My content was a little all over the place, but it was the first video where I honed in on Believe being the most important core value. And I
believe in yourself, right? Like that was the premise.
Title? Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I don't know if that's a title, but that's what you're, when you say believe, that's what you're referring to.
Believe, like if anybody's watched my content over the past, I don't know, 8 years, 7 years, like Believe is everything. But Believe is through every video, every message. It's my brand. Like I think a brand is an emotion.
So when you worked with Steve, that was Believe, right? Like when I worked with them, they helped me through my childhood and all this stuff come up with the next play. Was that like your kind of your word, your brand, your hook? That's
no,
the word.
this was, well, kind of, right? Like this is where, when I think you're given advice that may not fit 100%. So they would give me, like Steve gave me so much, and still does, like we still work with him. He's amazing. He would give me advice that lands like 80%. So he'll be, you got to stand for something. You got to stand for it. Like, what do you stand for? I don't know what your brand is all about. Yeah. And if you look at Grant, you got 10X. And if you look at other people, like they have their brands. What is your brand? I don't know. You need to get a brand. I don't think either of them were really happy with Believe at the beginning either, because it's too soft.
Right.
It's like, what Believe what? Like that's, are you a pastor? Is this a Christian thing? Are you like, it's too, they want controversy and like powerful opinions, and it's great and it works, right? And so I still struggle in that department. Maybe I'm too introverted or Canadian or whatever it is. But it was a slower build, I think, from Believe versus something more controversial. If you look at someone like Andrew Tate blowing up, he's like powerful, controversial opinions, and he blows up, right? Believe is a lot softer. So took a lot longer for it to really start to permeate and take off, to the point where now, I remember at Christmas, I think last year, Grant Cardone was opening up his Christmas presents for his kids. And like one of them had a sweater that said Believe, and he's like, Believe, Evan Carmichael, like it's become synonymous now because I just kept saying it enough and that becomes the brand. But it's not as controversial as, they would have liked. And to their credit, like I would have gone faster if I did do something more controversial, but at least I was trying. Like that was my first step to.
What was the video like? It was just the Believe. It was just like, was it the music, motivational? Like what made it different? What made it outside your comfort zone?
even just landing on, I'm going to make a video. Everything before was a lot more either tactical, like how to blank, the 5 ways to X,
Right.
or here's what you can learn from Elon Musk's success, and like breakdown. So it's a lot more just XYZ tactics. And this was the first, just, I guess you could say motivational, but leaning in, like, what is believe? Believe is very, it's like, it's not tangible. You can't touch it. What am I learning from this? It's like, well, I don't know if people are going to learn from, but I want them to feel something from this. So it was like it was very outside what I would, it's not outside of what people would do. Like other people have done it. So it's not like this crazy new idea that's never been done before. But for me, where it's all just tactics, XYZ, to go into the land of feelings, was very weird.
Right. How many subscribers did you get from that video in that first month? Do you remember?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Was it a lot? Was it like, whoa?
It was significant. Yeah, I mean, like whatever year that video came out, if you look at on my website, I show year by year how much I've grown. So like if anybody if anybody goes to evancarmichael.com, you can see I put it as inspiration, because for most people, you're probably ahead of me. So if you scroll down to like a third of the way or something through the page, you'll see year by year from like May of every year how much I've grown on the main channel. It doesn't include the sub channels and other platforms.
If you look at percentages, it was between 2014 and 2016 by percentage was your biggest growth. And
2014, it was 9,000, and 2016 was almost 300,000.
Right. It's like, and then you doubled a lot from there. You went from 300 to 600, and then.
Yeah, and some years are bigger than other years, and we had some winners and some losers, and like I'm still figuring it out. Like we've done a great job, I think, but always can do better.
Right.
So when people ask, well, what was the year? Like, what was the moment? It's like, well, I don't know. What's big growth for you? Was it when we went from 9 to 38 or 38 to 300?
Actually, your biggest growth was really like, 107 to 77. No, it's 107. Yeah, I mean the 2000 and 9,000. If you think about that, that's like almost 5x.
In the video, you may need to like show up on the screen what we're talking about.
Right. So
people can get a sense, But I put that there because it's inspiring for some people to see the journey, and like I'm not the overnight success, but I just kept going, just stay consistent on it. And people often use it and tag me to say, I'm beating you, Evan. Like I'm in year 3 and I have 800 subscribers versus year 344. It's like, I love it. I love seeing.
Well, I'm going to give you the most embarrassing, which is I think my YouTube channel came out when I started speaking 8 years ago. And I'm at 500, and I never posted content till recently.
Yeah.
Like I would post some videos or testimonials, like before YouTube was what it is today. It was just a place where you housed videos so that's what I used it for. And I think I regret it. It's a big mistake, but
it's super normal, dude. Like that's everybody, And listen, at the beginning, right? Like even when Hank told me that video would tank and was too long, it was a 6-minute video. Like YouTube's changed a lot. I was just super early, and not that I was smart. Like, how did you know? I didn't know. I like video. I'm a visual guy. Like if this was a podcast audio only, I'd really struggle to do this with you. I like being able to see you. I'm a visual. And at the time that I started, YouTube was the only visual place. So I'm sitting here making long form YouTube educational content at a time where education, what are you doing? Nobody's here to learn. We're here to watch an old man fall down some stairs and like some prank video. But
it's all educational now, right?
Well, no, like YouTube is still everything. Like YouTube
it's
still
majority.
Has pranks.
Isn't it like 60% or so? Or go ahead, sorry.
No, I don't. I would say it's still majority entertainment content. Like people would rather be entertained than educated. Just that's how humans are mostly wired. So if you were to look, I think because you're in personal development and learning and sales and like you want to get better, most of the content you see is going to be educational, podcast, long form. But if you were to look, go incognito mode on YouTube and see what gets recommended to you. It's going to be Mr. Beast. It's going to be, it's going to be these entertainment style videos. But having said that, YouTube is, I think, now the #1 education platform in the world. Like if you're going to go learn something, you're not going to your library. You're not going to go ask your mom. Like you're going to YouTube when you're looking, how do I X? Somebody wants to learn how to sell. Where are they going to go?
Right. YouTube.
You're not going to the library to pick up some book on sales that somebody wrote 30 years ago. Like, you're going to go to YouTube and you're going to find Richie and he's going to give you something, right? Like, that's where people are going to learn. And that's a big shift. Like, I was just super early. That's probably also why my content struggled at the beginning, because I'm talking education and entrepreneurship in an era where nobody cared about that. It's not where they were going. Now it's like, if you are a trainer, speaker, coach, you're putting education in front of your product or service, you have to be on YouTube.
Right. So how do you grow a successful YouTube channel today? Like, if I'm getting started, how do we do it today? I mean,
I would look at 3 types of shows for anybody considering getting on YouTube. The first is a biz dev show. So the first is you're bringing on either potential clients or potential referral partners for you, that you're going to go interview them, you're going to have them tell their story, and you basically build a relationship with them. And here we don't care about how well the video does. It's just about building a relationship, because for you to go pitch somebody is really hard. Like, they won't give you the time to pitch them, but for you to have them on your show as a guest could work really well. And for most people, you don't need a big name. You just need to know the position at the company. Like, if you're selling corporate and you need to talk to the VP of sales at whatever company, VP sales at Coca-Cola, like, they're not talking to you. They don't want to get pitched, but they might come on your show and hear from you. And like, nobody's ever asked a VP of sales at Coca-Cola to come on a show to talk about sales. Right. So now, like, that's an easy win. And if that person knows you and you sell sales training, like, boom, now we have, like, you could build a 7-8 figure business just off of that, even if the YouTube channel never blows up. So the first show is biz dev. And why I say that is because where most people quit is they're not getting money. If you can start making money, you're a lot more motivated.
I mean, that's a thing. Like, I have to quit my job and I'm not going to make money for 8 years. Like, that's a thing, right?
For sure. Yeah. Like, if you're making, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I came into this, I already sold my business. I was already in venture capital. It's like, you got to figure out how to make money. If you have no monetization plan, then it's a hobby. It's a part-time thing, evening, weekends that might fill your soul, but then it never becomes, not never, but most people quit on the path because they never figure out how to make money doing it. So first show ideally is something that's going to help us make money, which is a biz dev show. The second show would be showing the process of what you do. So if you're a coach, show me you coaching. Yeah. Don't make a video of the 8 ways of how to overcome objections. Show me you actually doing the thing that you're great at. Like a magician, if the magician were to say how to entertain an audience versus like, show me you entertaining the audience, it doesn't mean you reveal all your tricks. The magician doesn't show how the bird comes out of his coat, but you see, like, wow, how did that happen? So if you're great at what you do, it looks like magic to somebody watching. And it's easier content to make because you're with somebody as opposed to talking by yourself to the camera. You're seasoned, you're great at talking to the camera. A lot of people struggle and they can't do it at the beginning. But if you're helping somebody, it's a lot easier. Right. So you bring on people that then you show the process of what you're doing. So that's easier content to make. It's more fun content to make. It shows your expertise a lot more. It allows you to go longer form. And it's usually great conversion content for your coaching or your consultant page or your product page to put it on there to say, hey, if you want to be coached by Richie, now I get to see him actually coaching as opposed to just doing the 8 ways to XYZ. So second show is around showing the process. The third show would be thought leadership content. And that's where you're talking direct to camera. You're doing the 8 ways to overcome objections or whatever. That's the best long-term content. That's the most sustainable, ongoing, long-term, build your brand type of content. And that's where most people want to start. The problem is you probably suck at talking direct to camera at the beginning. It doesn't mean you suck as a human, just you don't have the skill yet, right? Like, for sure. A brand new sales guy gets on the call, like, he's going to suck on the phone until he learns how to script and overcome objections and everything else, right? So it's the thing that you're least good at and takes the longest to win at. So it's the furthest away from actually monetizing. And again, if you're not making money, you're probably going to quit on it. Maybe not you, but most people will quit on it. So those 3 ideas, if you're going to start right now, you think of 3 different shows. The first is biz dev, so we start making money. The second is demonstrate the process to help me see what you're great at. And then the third is thought leadership content that will live forever.
Listen, Evan, I know our time is short here, and I appreciate you taking the time to jump on here and share that. I think if you're listening to this right now and you are in sales, you're in leadership, your personal brand is so important today, and YouTube is the future. I mean, it is where people go to look, to learn how to do things, to find people, to find resources. So Evan, I appreciate your time. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for being on the show, and I know we'll be talking here pretty soon. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Richie. Appreciate you, man.
You got it, man. Have a great one. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Next Play podcast. If you liked the show, make sure to leave us a review. For more resources, visit relentlessuniversity.com or download the free Relentless University app. And if you're interested in having me speak at your next event, visit relentlessrichie.com. Until next time.